Okay, this time what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some work on the Retina model 13-inch. This is 2012, I believe. Yeah, it's a 2012 model. This one has a problem with the keyboard and it has a broken screen. The reason why I'm making this video is not because of the screen, it's because of the keyboard. The screen on this I will replace in the same video, but the thing is, the screen, when you replace it, you replace mostly this, the whole thing, because the parts are, the polarizers are so expensive that it's just ridiculous, because it's very hard to do. I'll actually do a video on that so you can see how it's done, but it's very hard. It's like 10 times harder than MacBook Air that you might have seen in my previous videos. But anyway, so we're gonna replace the keyboard because the keyboard doesn't work properly. There's some missing keys. I can fix a missing key, but some of the keys are not working at all. So like I mentioned on a 15-inch, don't be fooled by repair shops that tell you that you need to replace the whole top case, because the keyboard is not replaceable. The keyboard is replaceable. It can be done, and don't make them overcharge you a ton of money just to replace this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this part of the battery, speakers, and the motherboard and the I/O board. Basically, you just need a basic set of tools to take all these screws out. Replacing the keyboard on this model requires some gripping of stuff inside, but you will see it's pretty easy to replace it. Just takes a little bit of time. The keyboard is bolted into the case, and you need to put the screws where those bolts were, because when you rip out the bolts there will be holes. Pretty much carefully remove all these cables. I have done this so many times that I don't really need to unplug the battery so that I can work on this, but I'm careful enough. But in terms of you working on it on the first time, do take the battery out. Take the battery out, because if you drop a screw on the motherboard, which is powered by the battery, even though the computer is not on, you can damage something pretty badly. You can kill your board, you can short something else. Just unplug it. So this is the older model that has this little board connecting battery, and under it, when you take it out, there's this little piece that connects the battery to the motherboard. Take this out, but don't damage it, just leave it somewhere on the side. It's easier to just flip it. There we go. Okay, so unplug all the other cables, take the fans out. When you're taking the fans out, keep in mind that the fans are under the heatsink. So what I usually do, I don't remove the heatsink, but when you put everything back together, it might be a little bit harder. You can lift the heatsink slightly so you pull the fans out. Don't bend it. Don't try to bend it, because you can damage the heatsink and then cooling will be affected. Anyway, cooling on these computers is always bad, so you don't want it to be even less so effective than it already is. So take all the screws out that you see. All the screws that you see are holding something definitely. Don't try to pull. If it's not coming out, that means something is holding it, and you can break it while taking it out. This is an older model, so when I replace the screen, you will see you will need an older assembly for the Retina. That assembly, the only difference in between the old one and the new one is in the camera connector. Camera connector is wide, this one is small and narrow. This is the only difference in between them. Again, a couple more cables. everything goes out. Watch for this cable here. This is a keyboard backlight. You want to unplug this, you don't want to rip this, because you might need to use that backlight again. The thing is, if you bought the keyboard and the keyboard came with the backlight, then great. But if you bought a keyboard and you don't have a replacement backlight, then what are you going to do? So everything is unplugged. I'm going to pull out the motherboard now. One more screw. The board is connected here to the DC board. Don't forget to plug this back in, because then it won't charge. When the battery drains, it won't turn on. You'll be in a lot of trouble. In terms of the sizes for these screwdrivers, I can tell you, you will need a pentalobe to open the bottom. You will need a torque screwdriver, T-screwdrivers to take out the screws. Don't ask me what sizes are there. I have no idea. I have a set of them, and that's what I'm using. Okay, so you can see the keyboard is under the battery as well. So what we need to do is we need to remove the speakers. Speaker screws are a little bit different than the screws holding the motherboard, so try to keep them with the speaker itself. They're being held by 3 screws, so you don't lose these and you don't have the speaker wobbling around after the repair, and then because of the vibrations it might have a buzzing sound or sound like it's falling apart or something like that. Both sides have the same screws, so if you mix them up, that doesn't really matter, but as long as you don't use these screws for the motherboard or something else, they're also too long for that. Okay, so we don't need to take out the whole battery. Again, battery is something that is not easy to replace on this computer, but it can be replaced. Trackpad is under the battery. You need to lift this piece. It's very easy. The thing is, this part and this part is glued. So if you want to replace the battery, you need to unclude the battery. I will also do a video on that. I'm not going to take this battery out because that's a pain in the butt. It's not easy. It needs to be properly done. Do not heat the battery. I heard some idiots heating the battery, trying to pull it out so that the adhesive loosens up under it. Let me explain you one thing. The battery, for the people who don't know, I'm not trying to insult the ones who do. The battery has inside cells full of acids. These cells, you don't want to heat them up. When these cells overheat, they expand and they can blow up. If you want this battery to blow up in your face, go ahead. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so this we're gonna leave just enough to unglue the keyboard cable. I don't need to remove this. You see it's being held on these plastic frames. I don't need to remove that. I will not remove that either, and I will go around it. What we need to do is we need to unglue the backlight from the keyboard. Unglue the corner carefully. Don't pull or rip anything. Carefully, just enough so that you can grab and slightly pull until it comes off. If you rip the sides that are gluing the backlight a little bit on the side, don't worry, that's not a big deal, as long as you don't rip it in pieces or in half or all over the place. So just pull slightly, the backlight will come off. Don't pull it fast. If you do that, the piece of the backlight, the tape on the bottom of the backlight will get ripped. You don't want to do that. Here we go. So it's slightly damaged here. It's not a big deal. That's not going to be noticeable at all. Take a look at your keyboard. There is a screw right here and right here, where these two holes are for the trackpad. Sometimes there are screws in the corners, but not on this one. So take these two screws out, because what you will need to do is you will need to rip the keyboard out because it's completely bolted. If you rip the keyboard out and you didn't remove these screws, you can cut yourself very badly. I learned the hard way, so don't make the same mistake. Okay, now, so we need to remove the keyboard. You need something strong. I would say try to use a Phillips screwdriver, flathead, to get under. I have this plier. Let's see if this is going to do the job. Nope. I don't know where my flathead is, but okay, let's see. This will go out. Old keyboard is something you're not going to keep, so don't be gentle with it. You need to rip it out again. It's a pain in the butt, but that's what needs to be done. This might be the most fun you'll do while repairing your computer. Also be careful, don't rip this piece of the battery that we unscrewed. Again, you need to go around this piece from the battery, so don't pull like crazy, you don't want to rip it. Okay. As long as you don't damage the frame, the battery is fine. Try to clean off the screws, sorry, not the screws, these little things that flew out. If you have a compressor, just blow it out. Okay, so now we need to put a new keyboard in there, and we need to screw it in. And it's a little bit, yes, a little bit tricky here. When you're replacing a keyboard on a Retina model, very similarly to the Macbook Air, when you rip these out, there will be a bunch of screw holes which are going to hold the new keyboard into place. The thing is, with the Retina, it's kind of a lottery. Sometimes you'll rip these out and there will be all the screw holes are going to be there. None of these little pins sticking up are going to sit there. So you're going to be screwing this thing in all the way. You're going to use like 100 screws. Sometimes you will rip it out and there won't be a single screw hole, or there will be a couple of screw holes. In that case, you need to improvise. You need to put something down below the motherboard to keep the keyboard down if the keyboard is sticking up a little bit. Usually motherboard will press it down enough, but don't rely on that always, because that's not always the case. Now what you can do is also solder all these pins. You can put some solder on all of them. After they dry out, they're gonna hold the keyboard pretty well in there. That's another thing. I'm not going to do that right now. This one, by the way, has very small amount of screw holes. In most of the cases, even after you replace it, it will still be good. But sometimes the keyboard will feel a little bit more deeper than it should, than usual. So that might be an issue if you're doing it for a customer, or you're doing it for somebody else, or who knows. What I would do, the best thing, what you can do is melt some solder on each one of these. You remember I said it can be done. It's not a fun repair and it's not a quick repair. If you watch my video on the 15-inch Retina, you would see that 15-inch model had all the screw holes. I put like 100 and something screws in there. That wasn't fun for sure. Okay. After you do that, you have to put the backlight back on. Most of the times, the motherboard will press down so well on these keys, on the keyboard from the bottom, that you don't really need to do anything. But sometimes, like I said, it will feel a little deeper than it's supposed to be. And in that case, you really either need to put something on top of the backlight, not below the backlight, on top of it, because backlight won't shine through anything other than your keyboard originally. And then after you do that, it will press down on the keyboard won't move anywhere. In my case, I'm going to put the backlight back on here. And test it. In case it doesn't feel well, I will put I will solder it. Soldering it down is actually not a bad idea at all, but it's a pain in the butt thing to do. Okay, so now it's time to put this battery piece back where it was and put this speakers back in there. People come to me every day asking questions about certain repairs. A lot of shops don't do because they don't know how, and they never tried, maybe, or they don't know better, or they were told by Apple geniuses that it can be done. It's made in a way that it's not supposed to be done, or it's impossible to do, and whoever tells you that it can be done is lying. I like those. And especially when they tell me that the friend is a genius working in the Apple store, so that I have an excuse to make those geniuses look like an idiot when I prove them wrong. Terrible for me, huh? Losing faith in their friends because they lie to them, or they're not capable enough of doing something that somebody else did. I guess I'm a bigger genius than they are. I didn't make this up or figure this out on my own the first. Believe it or not, a lot of people are doing this. People who actually are not afraid of doing a certain repair and not afraid of improvising with something. With this thing you need to improvise. Retina is made a little unfriendly for techs trying to fix it. So don't ever forget that. Retina models are not really easy to replace parts on, especially the screen if you're not replacing the whole screen assembly. Apple did their job very well to make our life miserable on that. I've replaced the screen on this, I know how hard it is. It looked pretty good after the replacement, but it's a miserable thing to do, and I will do a video on it so that you can see. I bet you will never try to do it yourself. If you're a tech or in a repair shop, you'll fuck it up a couple of times. Not even the first that I did came out perfect, so. Okay, cable, the one under. Make sure when you assemble it back to put all the cables back in there. If you don't, something won't work. Don't forget the backlight for the keyboard, this little piece here. Since I said I will do the screen assembly, I will do the screen assembly as well. That's so basic and stupid that anybody can do without even me showing it, but since I'm replacing the whole assembly for people who don't know how to do it and would like to know how to do it, I'll just replace it. Okay, so time for the fans. Like I said, fans have this little bracket on the side. Lift the heatsink a little bit and then put them in. In this case, actually, it was a better idea to put the put the I/O board first, because you can slide it in. If the fan is already in there. Again, I don't take the heatsink off. For this one, there is no reason. But it's possible that you might get stuck, and if you don't feel comfortable bending the heatsink a little bit, take it off so you don't damage it. I never bent it, so I'm pretty gentle, I would say. Not like with the keyboard. When you put when you're about to put the battery back in, don't forget this little piece. You forget this little piece, the computer won't turn on. Here's another little trick I'm gonna share with you, which a lot of people didn't believe until I showed them. This screw, never lose this screw. I'll explain to you why. For some weird reason, this screw connects the top of this board, battery board, to the bottom logic board, and without this screw your battery will not be recognized by the computer when you turn it back on, which is totally weird. Even if you put all these other 3 screws on the battery, the black ones and the big silver one, it still won't work. So don't lose this screw. For all the people who always said, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about, they can try it themselves and then let me know if it works for them. I'll put this under it. Okay, so before you plug everything, turn on the computer, make sure you plugged everything in, that everything is where it's supposed to be, that everything's screwed down. install for the after we test it. We're gonna replace the screen assembly right now. Here's USB drive. Oh yeah, I forgot the right speaker. You might need it, right? Okay, here we go. So we're going to replace the screen assembly. It's pretty easy. Take these off. I took this off when I was replacing the keyboard. You'll need again, T-screwdriver, unscrew the 3 screws holding the hinge on both sides. In total 6 screws. But 6 screws are not the only thing holding this assembly. I will show you. There is another screw with a little metal bracket securing the assembly in place. You need a smaller screwdriver. If you see this one here, the left side fits only on the left side, so don't try to mix it up with the right side, so you will be able to screw it back in. Take this off and voila, you took off the screen assembly. It takes literally 2 minutes. Now we're going to put a new one in there. Since, like I said, this person is not having their polarizer replaced because I don't have these parts right now. But I will do a video on 13 and 15 inch just so you see how miserable it is and just so you can wish you never do it yourself. Maybe if one day I manage to get these parts cheaper, I'll be able to offer a normal priced repair. Right now I'm charging $500 to replace one of these assemblies. It's cheaper than Apple or any other authorized repair shop, but I think it's a rake. I think it's very expensive. So be gentle with these and break them. Some of these computers are worth fixing. Like if you pay $2,000, $2,500 for your Retina computer, then by all means you broke a screen, it's your mistake, pay for it. But if you bought the cheapest 13-inch model and you're about to spend $500 to get the new screen on there, then I'll agree with you, it's ridiculous. Okay, when you replace the screen, make sure that it's properly aligned. That the case of the screen is not sticking up anywhere. In the back or the front. If it is unscrewed, these screws just a little bit, push it where it's supposed to go. Left, right, front or back. Tighten them back in. Put a little bracket on both sides. And that's how you replace the screen assembly. A very expensive part and 10 minutes of labor. So if you go to somebody and somebody is asking like $500 to fix this, Don't think they're trying to rip you off. Apple charges much more. These parts are very expensive for these models. Screens are cheaper, the polarizers, retina polarizers, but they're hard to find, and they're not as cheap as you might think. They're just cheaper. They include replacing this without replacing the whole assembly requires a ton of labor, which is pretty hard. You can put these rubbers back on here, but I'm going to test the computer first. I need to test the keyboard and the screen. I need to make sure that it's good. Then I'm going to screw it in and put these rubbers back on. With these rubbers you might have to lift the heatsink just slightly, so you slide them in. I'll show you on this side since I'm going to screw it in here. You just slide it around. It's pretty easy. It's not connected or glued to anything. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to put the bottom screws yet. I need to test the computer. I need to make sure that the screen is good. Doesn't have any dead pixels. It actually feels really good, so I'm not going to solder anything or do anything to the keyboard. I'm going to leave it the way it is. It feels actually perfect, like the old one. So like I said, if you don't have too many screw holes, don't worry, they're probably not needed, because you will be able to screw everything back together and everything is going to work perfect. Now as you can see, the computer is on, the screen is good. After every keyboard replacement, since you unplug the battery, make sure you're connected to internet and get your clock back up and running, so you don't get those annoying messages that your computer cannot open a website because of certificate issues and stuff. This guy has a password, so I'm not going to mess with it. It's a guest account. Test the keyboard, make sure that the backlight works, cover the camera. Camera has that light sensor so that you can see the backlight and make sure it works. There's the keys. All the keys have to work perfectly, especially the shift keys. Shift keys are something that I had problems with. I learned the hard way again. Everybody uses shift keys, especially the left shift key. Okay, looks good. So I'm going to put the other rubber down under it. I'm going to put these two screws in the side. Put the rubber and you can screw this part of the heatsink. So I lift it a little bit. It's pretty tight in there, so that's why you can't really reach. Like most of my detailed step-by-step videos, this one is also pretty long. If you really want to learn how to do this stuff, stick to the end of the video, because it will show you the proper way. I don't have anything from you watching the video. I'm actually just trying to help out to whoever needs help with this. A lot of people will try to do it themselves, so they don't have to go to a shop and spend a lot of money to fix it. And I don't blame them. They paid a lot of money for this computer. The screw is a little hard to put in if you don't remove the heatsink. And with without removing the heatsink, there is no way of you actually putting it in easily. It'll probably be faster if I remove the heatsink, but I'm still gonna be stubborn and I'm gonna screw this screw in. Put the bottom back on, close it up, test it one more time and call it a day. Or maybe not, I have about 20 other computers I need to fix today, but at least you managed to see this one. I might make another video or two on some other stuff. I hope the light is better than some of my previous videos. I'll try to get a better camera or a better microphone so that I can use. Again, I don't plan on spending too much money just to be able to show you how to do this. If you have any questions, just contact me. Feel free to ask. I'll do my best to reply whenever I can. I'm not too busy. If you don't want to do this repair, you want me to fix it for you, I'll gladly do it. Also contact me for the prices. We'll have my website info as well below. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.